Good morning everyone, thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be drawing a scene from my most favorite movie in the world, not just in the Studio Ghibli universe, and that is Spirited Away. So I watched this movie actually when it first came out. My family was living in Japan back then, so we got the DVD and I watched it with my parents. I'd watch it periodically from time to time, and then I came to love it so much that at this point I think I've watched it more than 10 times and I have pretty much all of the lines memorized. So that is a rambling of how much I love this movie, which leads me to the point that it means a lot that I can do this and paint it with you guys and show it to you guys and, you know, receive feedback on what I'm doing. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. I chose a scene that is not immediately recognizable as from Spirited Away. I think this is very representative of my channel. I hope that it will turn out, as I hope every single time I start something. There is no guarantee that it will. Just like anything in life, I guess. And yeah, we'll get started. Today's very chill, you know. I got my t-shirt with Gudetama that I got from Uniqlo, and I think Gudetama really is my mood most days. Except for when I'm filming with you guys, because that's when I'm really happy and I'm really happy to be here. So okay, enough chit chat, we're gonna get started. To start, the picture is actually pretty simple. We have a little island in the middle here, so you know, representative of my channel. And then on top of an island there's a little house, and then there's a little tree, so should be easy, I hope, fingers crossed. So we want to figure out where we want to place the house and how big the house will be, and then from there we want to figure out the tree and where it's going to be, and then we're going to figure out where to place the clouds. And that should be good because the shading and all that stuff we're gonna do when we're painting. And I think the difficult part will be to draw the texture of the water. I always find water a little bit challenging to do, so we'll see about that later as we paint. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes I think, and I already finished most of the drawing portion of this paintings, and I realized that this is actually during sunset, so during twilight, and it's when Chihiro, when she's on the train and she's going to Zeniba's house. Yeah, I feel like this is the perfect painting from my favorite movie to put on my channel because it is during sundown, my favorite time of the day, and it's a little island. So the drawing portion is actually pretty easy, so I'm looking forward to having lots of fun with the painting portion and getting to use lots of different colors. So we're gonna start squeezing some paint onto my trusty palette here. I actually got a new paintbrush last week. So I got a new tiny acrylic brush that is just for acrylic, and it's by Royal and Langnickel. I've never used them before. Hopefully they're good. And I have my tiny brush here that I have been using in the past. And also I got two things. I got black paint finally because I didn't have any black, so I was trying to mix navy blue, green and brown and yellow, trying to make black, but it didn't really work. So I have black now, and I bought an extra tube of white so that whenever my white runs out, which is gonna be pretty soon, I have some backup. I think I want to draw the clouds first, the sky and the cloud, and then we're going to do the house, and then the water last because there's some reflection in the water, so we want all the top parts done before we get to the bottom part. So we're going to get started with the clouds and the sky. White. Now I can use this white liberally because I have backup. a little bit of the red so that we can make purple. Oh. That's it, I think. Those are all the colors we're gonna need. Only blue, white, and red. Probably gonna need more white later. So let's start with the sky. And for the sky, it fades from darker up top to lighter color on the bottom. So I'm gonna start kind of light. Oh, it's kind of dark. Okay. Grab a bit of water. Really want to try to blend the paint here. Okay, so we finished coloring in the sky. We're almost at the clouds now. And what I want to do before I start doing the clouds is to fine line the house so we don't lose it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to drawing the clouds now. So The clouds are fine for now. I'm gonna add a few more coats after. I think I'm gonna fine line the bottom here for the horizon using marker because the lines are quite fine. So marker will be easier. Okay, time for some green. I feel like I've been staring at the clouds for so long that I need to move on and do the island portion and then come back to the sky to finish it up. I think the shading is halfway there, maybe 75%. It'll just look more real once the whole picture is colored in. So this is day 2 of filming for this painting. We can see that it's pretty much finished, almost. So I need to add the soul into it, if you will, or another way to put it is to add the light parts and the dark parts so that the light really brings something more to the picture. I also think that the water, the lines I drew for the water is a bit dark, so I'm going to try to lighten it by covering it up with some white paint but with water so that it's more translucent, so the color kind of peeks through underneath but not completely. Yeah, let's see where it goes today and whether or not I'll be able to capture that soul of the painting. And you know, if not, then that's also fine. Not every drawing is gonna be a success. Not every painting is gonna come out exactly the way I want it. All right, let's get started. Let's finish this. This is where I'm using the technique that I was talking about before. Mix some water with the paint to create a translucent effect, perfect for the water ripples in this case. Adding some more light to the island, the trees, and the water here. We're almost done. Okay, so my camera is about to die, and before it does, really quick, I'm gonna sign this painting and date it. Okay, so the focus is on the painting now. We're gonna rip the tape off for the final reveal. So satisfying. Alright, and I'll also show you guys a close-up of the painting so that it's featured in my video. Thank you for joining me today. I had a lot of fun painting this. My favorites are the sky and the water because I like doing broad strokes and not having to do details and then trying to capture the light. So all of these are my favorite things, all put into one painting. And it was great to try out a new technique where I mixed water to make the paint a bit thinner so that the colors underneath show through, even though if you don't mix it with water, then it'll just straight up cover the paint underneath. And I hope you were able to watch this video and get some sort of enjoyment out of it, and maybe hopefully you'll try your own drawing and painting, which I would love to see. If you could tag me or send them to me over Instagram or Twitter, I'd love to see them, and I'd love to hear about your own journey in painting and drawing. So thank you for joining me today. Please thumbs up, like, comment, and if you really want, you can subscribe. Hope you guys have a good day before my easel collapses.